Welcome back to the URG Podcast. Today, I'm joined by a friend of mine, a writer, someone who I find very talented, the Bender.
Hi.
We kind of go way back. Now that I think about it, let's kind of share the story of something that holds a very special place in my heart, the open mic at the Corona Public Library.
Yeah, a special place in my heart as well. I feel like we kind of birthed it together.
No, we sure did.
Yeah.
How did you, I don't know if I ever asked you this, but how did you kind of get involved with that? Like what was your story of like how you were approached with that?
So I worked for the city of Corona for Parks and Rec, and I did a lot of different things. So like the after school program, anything that had to do with like community outreach. But I wanted to get involved in the library because I just saw books. And then they would like teach you new things and customer service. So I wanted to get away from like smaller things. And I felt like the library would help grow me just as a person. And then I met Danny there. And
shout out to Danny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a wonderful human being.
Yeah, she's the greatest. She's so nice. So I ended up just asking the library if I could help or if I could move or transition there. And they were like, actually, we're going to start an open mic and maybe you can help host or help just watch that event happen, and we're going to be doing it every month. So I was like, okay. And then she put me as like the city of Corona employee that would be there to like watch it grow or watch the event happen. And then that's how we met.
Dang, yeah, that's pretty crazy. So shout out to Danny.
Shout out to Danny, wherever you are.
Before I joined the Corona Public Library in the city of Corona, there was an open mic that kind of already existed, but it was more for like younger kids and like theater type of performances and things like that. So, what was it? What was the change like when we started doing it? You know what I mean? Like what kind of was different about our open mic versus what used to be there?
Okay, so yeah, actually I do remember that. So there was a group that had like a stake at the city hall, and they were doing theater. So it was always a bunch of just like theater kids or smaller kids or even like dance, stuff like that would be taking over the space. Then when you came in, because you were like the main conductor, like producer of the open mic, that's why it got started, because I think you asked about it. It was just like more free spirited. I feel like more open. We could do whatever. Nothing was like too like, you'd be like, you grab a mic, and then it was just like free flow and like a lot of fun. And we were freestyling and singing, and we had comedians and people of all ages actually. So it was just more like open and fun and inviting, and I feel like community based.
Yeah, we would have the city of Corona would buy us pizza.
Oh yeah. That was cool. We got food.
We got free food. Yeah, they always buy the brownies too. I'm like, Danny, make sure you get an extra order of that, the chocolate chip cookie brownie thing.
Yeah,
that thing was always gone at the end of the night.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I do remember that. The pizza, she always hooked it up for us.
And then because it's right there on. It was at the Corona Public Library. So for like the people that are not familiar with Corona, it's like on 6th Street, like it's kind of the ghetto, but
a little bit, like right on the cusp.
Yeah, right on. Exactly. And we would always have like homeless people, like little crackheads sometimes walk in and just get some pizza. Some of them would freestyle on the mic sometimes and then get a slice and dip out, but it was kind of cool. Like we were like a little safe space for people to just get some food and just like,
chill.
Not get judged weird or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then also it was like at a later time. So like the library's general hours, it was already closed. We were like from like 6 to 10, I think.
Yeah.
So we were there late. So a lot of random people sometimes would pull up because they're like, the library's still open? Like, what's going on over here, you know? So we would get a lot of random people. I do remember that.
Do you remember, dang, this is so bad. But do you remember that guy who would play the guitar and he was like an older gentleman? He would have a hat.
Oh, and yeah.
He was so cool. I hope he's doing good in life, or you know what I mean? I hope he's all right. But
yeah,
we had some interesting some interesting characters.
Yeah, we had like this
mic.
older lady who was a comedian. I remember she came back for like 3 or 4 months. I think she said she was like from Kentucky or some random state. But I remember she was like cracking jokes about like not having a job. So I was like, dang, like it must be hard out here for her. Because I feel like anybody that just moves to California, like, are trying to pursue a dream. And when they get here, they're like, dang, inflation, like, it's too much. And I was like, I remember feeling that. I was like, dang.
Yeah, like.
It's rough out here.
And in LA, where, all the celebrities are, the dreams come true. It's not all glitz and glamour, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was funny, though. Yeah, we did have... Do you remember those... the one time there was, like, this... It was, like, a group. And they just did, like, noise. They just did, like, static noise. You remember that? It was, like...
Okay, yeah. And then, like, the TV was, like, literally just static, like a broken screen. Yeah, that was so... And it was for, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or, like, longer. We were like, okay, next. How do we stop this? Because it literally wasn't really anything other than, like, noise. I guess, like, art is objective, right? Or, like, in the eye or the ear, I guess, of the beholder. But that was literally just static, like, for 10 minutes.
They had, like, a legit... I remember because they had a legit setup. Like, they brought a bunch of stuff up onto the stage. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to say front row. Like, this is about to be something phenomenal. And then just blasted for, like, 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, my goodness. What am I doing with my life?
You know what? You're right. I do remember that setup. Like, it looked like they were going to have, like, some cool DJ, like, EDM type, I don't know, some type of computer, I don't know, something. Like,
something crazy.
Yeah, and it literally was just, I'm like, we didn't need any of this at all.
Yeah, it was honestly, the open mic was pretty fun. We had a lot of fun. And I remember so now we get into the seriousness of this. We would be up there killing that shit.
Yeah.
Every single fucking time, or every week, or we did it once a month, or I don't know.
It was once a month. I think it was the first Friday of every month, or the last Friday. It was one Friday out of the month.
Yeah. And I think during the summer we might have did 2 a month.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I remember when Danny first introduced me to you, she was like, oh yeah, she be doing her thing too, like up on the mic. I'm like, all right, let me see. And then you got up on the mic and you was like, ba 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 ba, like freestyling. I was like, oh shit, like she came here to rock the fucking stage today. What kind of got you into like freestyling and doing that kind of stuff?
Well, I grew up, like, I feel like a lot of artists, like, that grow up in church, that's where I got my start. Like, they had, like, a little children's band, and then they were like, do you want to sing for the band? And my mom was like, yes, have her go. So that's where I started, like, loving music and learning about it. But then I dated someone who loved to freestyle, and they were, like, trying to clown me, and they were like, no, you think you could do this? You can't do this. And I was like, yeah, I can. And literally, I remember my first freestyle. I was like super scared, but I kept going, and I literally didn't know how I kept going. Like, I just was on a beat, and it was like nonstop. And we were like with a lot of people, so they were like, "Oh my gosh, like Brianna," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I literally didn't know I could do that. And then after that, it was just like a new passion was born, and I started writing, and here we are.
So you started freestyling and then you started writing songs after that?
Yeah. Okay. So that kind of became like the birth of it. It was like, wow, I could actually like potentially do this. So then I would sit at home, kind of like listen to beats on the computer or whatever. And whatever I liked, I would just start freestyling and then start writing with it. So then I wrote a couple songs, like a couple rap songs. And then I started performing, and then that's how we came about, because then that's when Danny was like, oh, yeah, you'd be perfect for this, you know? So, yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. It started with the freestyling, then it transitioned to, putting the pen to the pad.
Yeah, and it was like at a random party, too. Actually, here in Corona, there was just like a bunch of people like freestyling, and then my ex was like, yeah, you think you could do, you can't do this. And everybody was like, oh, you got to do it. Like, he's trying to challenge you. And then I was like scared, but I was like, okay, like, all right, I'll try. And then everybody was losing their minds after because I was like, I did not know. Like, they're like, where did that come from? I was like, dude, I don't know, but it came, and now here I am.
Where did your passion for music kind of come from? Did you grow up like in a musical household, or I mean, you mentioned the church, but was that like something that's always been a part of your life?
Yeah, my brother, he was a guitarist and a bassist. So kind of watching him play guitar and bass made me want to like be more musical, I guess. So then my mom ended up paying for me to get piano lessons. And then that was kind of the birth. Me and my brother would like practice together. It was oftentimes for like church songs. But he ended up he still plays bass actually. He's still actively a musician for our church or his church because I go to a different one. But he still actively plays, and then I started writing.
Yeah. So did you actually played in the church?
Yeah, in the little like kids band. But that's as far as it went for singing. After like the age of 19, I kind of like went on my own faith journey, and I actually ended up leaving the church because I didn't know who I was. And I was like, this has been a part of my life, but I don't even know if I really believe this. And then, I just started writing, like I said, to hip hop beats and stuff like that even I would create on the computer, because with GarageBand on Apple, I would be like, all right, let me try to do a little something with the keys. But none of the beats I ever made, I feel like were any good. I listened to them and I'm like, what was I doing? But nonetheless, fun. And I feel like everything is a journey, you know? We go through life for reasons and seasons, and yeah, that's pretty much what brought me here. And I still feel like the creative juices are constantly flowing, because once you like tap into that creative frequency, like you cannot escape it. It always comes. You'll try to like, at least for me, I go to work and I'm like, dang, I should be writing something, or I'll be working on something and then an idea pops in my head. So I'll like side quest it on the desk real quick, like write that down. So I just, it's just like once you hit that mark, you can't not live it anymore. It's like in your blood.
Yeah, I love that, and I relate to that too, because you kind of always find little bits of inspiration. Yeah, what's like the most random place that you've ever gotten like, oh, I got this crazy idea?
I don't know, maybe like a restaurant or something, because you just see things or you hear people talking and then it like sparks something in you, you know? Or a lot of the times I get a lot of my inspiration from watching other people perform. Like I remember watching this girl rap and she killed it. I wish I remembered her name, but I met her at like the gym where I go, UFC, and she was like, oh, I just performed the other day. And I was like, oh, you did? I was like, oh, you sing? She was like, no, girl, I rap. And I was like, oh, okay. So, like, she started doing a little freestyle, and she gave me, like, her Instagram. But this was, like, 2017. And then I remember I looked her up, and I watched, like, a music video of hers, and I was so inspired. I ended up writing my own song. So I just feel like anywhere, conversations, meeting people, it just comes like naturally, like a flip of a switch. But I stay, like my notes app stays open for like new ideas. Maybe I could come back too.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever done that where you maybe started an idea and then you left it alone for a while and then came back to it?
I would say so, because that's where I started writing my poems.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, I didn't want to leave songs like unfinished or like unfinished lyrics, so I just take like what didn't become a song and put it write it, I guess, as a poem.
Okay, so all right, let's dive a little bit deeper into that, because that's something that has been more of your creative focus as of lately, right? On the more of the poetry side than like the lyrics and the music side of things.
Yeah.
So when did you like? When was the first time you were like, okay, I'm gonna make this poem?
Well, it started from like heartbreak, right? So because I was like really into like rap and like hip hop and underground, I was just like writing a bunch of things that I felt like rhymed to like hit a certain beat or like a certain aesthetic that I was trying to find. Because I was really into like 90s underground. I wanted to sound like it came from the era of like how they say the golden era. I was like really into that.
Straight out the slums of Shaolin.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang shit.
So I wanted that like authentic sound. But, you know, time passes, I got older, and I just felt like I never really found the niche. And a lot of the times when you're doing hip hop, especially as a woman, everybody doubts you. Or I feel like I let voices get me down, like, oh, you're Mexican. You think you can have that sound? Like, that's not something you should be doing. And I feel like I regret not pursuing that, because I'm like, dang, imagine if I did, where would I have been? But then again, now I have 2 self-published poetry books out because I didn't let that little flame die.
Let's clap it up for that. 2 self-published books. That's a major accomplishment right there.
Yeah, I like look back and I read some stuff and I'm like, dang, I wrote this. But it started from the freestyling. Mm-hmm. You know, things I think about and I go back and I revisit and then I just finish it. Mm-hmm. And then it just ends. So I ended up with like 200 poems. And then I was like, dang, what can I do with this? You know, so I looked online, because the age of the internet, we could do anything. Whatever you want to do with the internet, you can do it. Mm-hmm. So Amazon was the platform that helped me. I looked up all of the like YouTube videos on like how to self-publish, and Amazon just kept coming back. They're like, if you already have an account, you can like start creating. So I typed everything up on Canva, which is super user-friendly. If you haven't used Canva, Canva is the best for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a entrepreneur, a small business, if you're just anybody, you should get Canva.
Yeah. And they even have like a free version, so if you don't know if you want to commit yet, like you could use it, mess around with it.
Yeah, but this is not a sponsor, so Canva, if you want to send us a free year, you know what I mean? We're not going to be mad at that.
Yeah, we're not going to be mad. But yeah, so I was able to like type everything out on Canva, designed my covers on there as well. And then I was able to upload it to Amazon. And through that, I've met so many amazing people. But in the poetry space, I've had a lot of support, and it's been my outlet. As much as I love singing, like I feel like we were talking about this earlier, I felt like it was a saturated space, and I'm only getting like older. So I always feel like, okay, what is something I can pursue that doesn't necessarily people need to see my face, or people need to like relate to me, or like I just felt like poetry was a space where you can kind of do whatever and there's no judgment, because it's writing, you know, it's just raw emotions let out on a paper. So with that, like it's helped me, I guess, heal parts of myself that I couldn't have done otherwise, because you're just letting your emotions out. And then also help me continue to write, because just because it didn't turn into a song doesn't mean it's not worthy. And I've gotten so many like responses from like people that have purchased that I've never met. Because for a time there was a coffee shop here in Norco that let me sell my book, and they were just selling like, it was like a little shelf on the side, and I had a little QR code, which is so nice that people still like have the honor system. Like nobody was just taking it. And I would get reviews like, you broke my heart to put it back together again. Or like, you helped me realize that I could, you know, I'm still worthy of love. Or like all these little notes. And I was like, wow, like I never realized that like just me putting out my feelings would help anybody. So it's been a journey, and it's been really fun. And I'm actually working on, well, I'm always writing. I would say I'm working on a 3rd one, but who knows when that one's going to come out.
Well, let's talk about the one that you just put out. Can you kind of explain the concept and, you know, the vibe of the book? Yeah.
So this one is called Thoughts of a Post-Pandemic Millennial, and it's by me, The Bender. I actually got my alias from my name. So my name is Brianna Esquivel. And then I went by Nova Divine for a long time, which that's what you know me as. And then my mom's initials are the ER. So then I just became Bender. And then to make it a person, I just put The Bender. So that's how I got my name. Because people often ask, they're like, dang, like, were you going on benders? Or like, where did that come from? But I'm like, no, it was my initials actually that like created the name. And then they're like, oh, that's sick. So that's where I got that. And I didn't want Nova Divine and my poetry. I just felt like they're two different personas.
Yeah.
Nova was like this girl that was like trying to rap, trying to battle everybody on site, like, what's up? And the Bender's more like now the older, more mature version of like how I see myself now. So that's why I was like, I can't, like, I thought about publishing as Nova, but I don't know, it just didn't feel like right. So I was like, what else should I go by? And then it just came to me, all my initials put in one. But this book, Thoughts of a Post-Pandemic Millennial, are writings from like 2021 to like 2023. And it's just like based on becoming, you know, creating my own identity, because for a long time I didn't know who I was. You think you know, but when you're in like a long-term relationship, or I always was like super dependent on like what my parents thought about me. So for a long time, I was always like fiending for their approval. Even as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, are they okay? Are they happy? Do they like this? What am I doing wrong? Like all the things, right?
That's probably a Latino thing. I feel like that's like big in Latino culture, but no, I get you.
Yeah, to like please your parents, like you do what they say, like you have to do, they like, so that was a big part of that. Also just like letting go of being a people pleaser, because I feel like my whole life I was always wanted to be like accepted, or how can I gain approval, and I didn't realize that until I finally started to like step into my own of like, who am I, what do I like? So I have a lot of poems on like identity, becoming, letting go of the past, and like just essentially growing. And I feel like a lot of people could resonate to that, because like I said, I've gotten some reviews and I just can't believe the nice things that people say sometimes, because I'm like, whoa, I didn't even think. And it's been really rewarding for sure.
You were kind enough to gift me a book, and I was reading through it, and one of the ones that stuck out to me, and I don't know why, and it's kind of appropriate, was there was one specific poem about iced coffee, right?
Yeah.
And like how much it means to you, and then what you order.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like, I can imagine maybe like 1,000 years from now, if someone finds this book and they're able to read that, like that's a good reflection of like, you know what I mean? Something real within our culture that I feel like a lot of, like you just have a lot of relatable things in there, you know what I mean? Like, it's not all kind of like heartbreak. Like there's a lot of aspects to life within it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted it to be based on growth, because a lot of my identity was on being heartbroken, and I feel like people don't realize that it is part of their identity until like they have to heal. Because I was like, well, I have to let go of this, or I have to let go of this person. And there is so much growth in doing that, and appreciating something so small like an iced coffee. But it really did become part of me. Like I needed it to go everywhere. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I was like romanticizing having a coffee at the mall, at school, on the way to anything, you know? So I do have a lot of poems like that too, just like random tidbits to like make people smile and whatnot, and feel it and understand it. Because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that for sure. That love coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a hot coffee, not really iced coffee, but I still relate to it. I'm like, okay, dang, coffee actually sounds really good right now. Like, might have to hit the Starbucks or something. But that's pretty awesome. So, what would you say is like the difference, if there is any, between writing lyrics versus writing a poem?
I feel like with lyrics, you have to be cohesive. There has to be some type of structure to it. Because you know how like when you watch a music video and then you're like, that has nothing to do with the song? I feel like a song, there has to be a message. That's why people come back to it, right? Because they can relate to it, or they heard something in it that they like. And if there's no like structure, then the song's probably going to flop. Right? You have to have like a solid chorus that's catchy, that people like, that they want to hear a million times, or like a bridge that like makes the song just like that much better. With poetry, I can kind of write however I feel, and I can have like a dramatic turn and people be like, oh, okay, but it like makes sense. There's kind of more of like this freedom to write whatever, although I do enjoy both. I feel like if I find a beat in a rhythm that I really like, I can write songs like instantly. Like I have quite a few unreleased songs that I feel like, man, if I was doing that right now, maybe I should. But I feel like if you pursue music, like, it has to be everything, right? The visuals have to be on point. Whatever aesthetic you're going for, you have to commit to that. Like, like when people are looking for an artist, they're like buying a brand, you know. They have to resonate with every little bit of whatever's going on, not just the music, but the style, the persona, like all of it. So it's a lot different. I feel like there's less pressure with poetry. And like I mentioned earlier, like somebody could pick up my book, they won't even ever have to know what I look like, you know, they're just reading words on a page. When you're doing music, it's a whole I don't know, character, a whole persona, a whole different person. I don't know, it's just so different.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. It has to, like, it's easier to buy into an artist when the whole package is there. Like, when the music matches how they look and how they present themselves and how the video is, then then that's what really resonates. But with poetry, it doesn't need all that to exist at that full capacity. Like,
yeah, exactly. So it's different. Similar because, you know, you get the words from something you've felt, or, you know, something that happened in your life, but just a lot less pressure, I'd say. I invite everybody to start writing poetry. I'm like, if you have any type of writing, like, skill level, anything, just write it down. It helps me a lot, just with clarity, because not everything makes it into a book. Like I said, I started out with 200 poems. I think my first book has like 50, and then the second book has like 60, because I have a lot that I'm like, what even is this? Doesn't make any sense. But, you know, I wrote it down for one reason or another, just, you know, off the fly.
And like maybe, you never know, you could go back to that poem later in the future and then be like, oh, okay, maybe I could take something out of this or something like that.
Yeah.
You spoke a little bit about the poetry community, and I'm kind of curious about that. Like, what has your experience been within that community, and like, what is that community like? Because I don't really know too much about it, if I'm gonna just be honest.
Well, I go to a lot of open mics, how we started, you know, and one that I go to often is in downtown Riverside. It's called Rupo, and they have all types of people, musicians, poets, comedians, just like any stand-up people that just like talk, like monologues. People read monologues. So it's really open. And I feel like in that community, I've gotten so much love from other poets, and it like encourages you to keep writing because they resonate. I've had people buy my book. I've bought other poets' books because we're all trying to, you know, make it, or like just, I guess, let our juices flow, for lack of better words, like in with each other. And I feel like if they like a poem that I've written, then we have poems that are like similar. So I just feel like it's kind of, I would say, like a sisterhood or brotherhood, but it's like we become, I guess, like siblings in a way, like where we're all inspired by each other. And it just, it's really fun. It's really nice. And we'll review each other's poems. I've had a girl who I actually bought her book, and in reading her poetry, I resonated so much. So I guess it's just like, maybe like a club or something, but it's really an awesome space. We all support each other's work, and it's become tight-knit. I've hung out with a few girls, because it's mostly girls that do poems. We have some guys, but mostly they're like trying to do rap or something, but they understand because, like I said, it's really similar. But I've had a lot of girls that like do the same thing, and we've even they've created and invited me into that space. It's called Domingo Social, and it's mostly women that come, and then they do their poetry, and we all just like, you know, clap or cry or whatever it is. But yeah, so it's just become, I guess, like a sisterhood of girls that do poetry. But the initial open mic, Rupo, is open to all.
Well, yeah, shout out to all the wonderful women out here being creative and doing their thing. What is there different genres within poetry? Like, is there, because I'm not too familiar with that, so like, I don't know, how big is that world of poetry like that?
Yeah, there is. So I do have this there is this woman, all her poetry is like super explicit. Like, she goes and it's absolutely crazy. And then there's other
like
people
cussing, like
oh no,
like vulgar,
like
like
sensual, you know. She goes in and like that.
Freaky deaky.
Yeah. She's a little bit older, so the crowd's always like, oh. So there's that.
I wasn't ready to hear this at 9 a.m. with my coffee.
Yeah, and then especially from her, like if you see her, she's like older, so you're like, oh.
I like that. I fuck with that.
No, yeah, it's always really good because she goes into detail and it's just like it's like a really interesting and entertaining to say the least.
Okay.
So there's like really sensual, I'd say. Then we have kind of like the raw where people go into like their traumas. So if you're not ready to hear it, sometimes it can be like a hard listen because poetry people don't hold back, you know, and it's meant to like I said, heal. It's helped me heal. So there's a lot of people that go into like their traumas and then you're just like, whoa. And you don't know if to clap at the end or to say they're sorry or to give them a hug. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry you had to experience that. And then there's a lot of heartbreak. I feel like it's a universal thing. That's how I started, you know. Everybody's been hurt by somebody at some point, whether it's small or big. There's a lot of heartbreak. And then what else is there? We went through trauma. We went through like the sensual stuff.
I thought it was just like rhyming and then not rhyming.
Yeah, no. There's definitely like brackets where we put things in. We've also had like some poets do poetry in Spanish.
Okay,
so that's been cool. I'm like, dang, I wish I could do that. Porque hablo español, pero no mucho. So, so I hear that and I'm like, yes, like keep it going. So there's a lot of like Latino community doing poetry as well. But yeah, it's pretty much the floor is yours. Whatever you would like to speak about, or write about, like poetry is universal, I guess.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I remember like when you said that, it just brought back a memory because my grandpa used to write poetry, and I remember he would read us some of his poems like that. And I don't know why I forgot about that until literally right now, but yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's cool that there's like a Latino community here in Southern California for the poetry like that. Because I mean, like you're saying, it sounds like a very therapeutic space, a very what's the word I want to say, like where everybody helps each other and kind of just, you know, lift each other up, a positive environment for people to be in. So that sounds pretty interesting and pretty cool to be around.
Yeah, like I would say in other spheres, sometimes it can get competitive, right? Because people want to be better. Or like that's what I've experienced when I was in like the hip hop world. A lot of the times it'd be like, oh, you're a girl that raps. Well, there's another girl over there. She also raps. Like, you think you could take her, you know? So I'd be like, oh, like the pressure, like maybe, you know, and I had to deal with that a little bit. And like, it would be fun, but sometimes it would get a little toxic, you know, because that's just like the nature of it. Like everybody's trying to be the best, like the number one rapper, the number one artist. And like, it gets competitive. With poetry, it's like, oh my God, that was amazing, you know? And you're just like, really? So it's definitely different in that aspect. And like I said, at least because women were more emotional, that's why they created that Domingo Social, like specifically for like women poets that want to get things off their chest. I just feel like it's more open and inviting, not so much like, oh, I wrote better poems than you, girl, because it's based on like experience, you know.
Poetry battle right now.
Yeah, there's not really any of that going on. And the last Domingo Social I went to, which shout out, it's in downtown Riverside at Back to the Grind. I feel like a lot of stuff happens at Back to the Grind. But the main girl, her name's Dara. She goes by Dara. So, hey, girl, if you see this, she gave roses to everybody that performed.
Oh,
so
that's sweet.
Yeah. So I just feel like it's a different environment, but it's nice and loving.
Yeah. If people gave out roses at hip hop concerts, I feel like it would be a much different world we live in.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Shout out to Dara. You said her name?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dara for you know what I mean, pushing the culture of poetry and, you know, creating space for people.
Yeah, exactly.
How often would you say are you writing poetry? Or just writing in general?
That's a great question. I would say if I had to put maybe like every other day, Because sometimes, like I said, I just get inspiration from anything. If I feel a song coming, I'll just pull out my voice memo and just start singing into it. Or if I think of something that would be a poem, I would just write it down in my notes app. So yeah, I would say maybe like every other day I have like notes for days. Even words, like new words that I've learned, I'm like, ooh, what does that mean? You know? So, or like, I like what this means, so I'm going to try to use this later. So just honestly, every other day maybe. Or I'll see people like that I think are like attractive, and then I feel like inclined to write something nice. I don't know. Just random things, literally anything I can think of. Yeah, like every other day, basically.
And I've definitely gotten inspired by some attractive people before too.
Yeah.
Wow. I need to write a song right now.
Or like I said, this coffee, sometimes I'm like, dang, that just hit the spot right now. That's why I literally wrote a poem about coffee, because I was like, this is so good. Like, I feel it.
Yeah. No, I feel that too. A good coffee. Oh man, this is nothing better. How often would you say, or are you still actively writing music too?
I haven't done music just because, like I said, I don't know. I went into a place when I was like, I don't think this is for me, because I was so like, I gotta be 90s. And I just wasn't feeling like I was putting that out there like that. So as far as music goes, I feel like that's been on the backseat. I'm open to it because I've been singing since forever, and I'll just be washing the dishes and I start singing, like, you know, random stuff like that. But right now it's just been poetry. But like I said, I always got like the archives, so if I feel like something might come up, like, we're ready.
Yeah, we're ready for it. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Let's shift gears a little bit, and I want to ask about your experience working in radio and kind of a little bit about that world. So when did you first get involved with radio?
So I started doing radio in 2018. It was my senior year in college. So I was going to Cal Poly, go Broncos.
Yeah.
In Pomona. So they were like, you either have to take another class or you have to do an internship somewhere. And at that point, I was done. I was like, it's my senior year. I don't want to take another class, and I would rather get real world experience. Mm-hmm. So they were like, okay, anything, because my major is communications. So they're like, okay, anything in media, anything. And so I was like, media. Immediately, I thought radio or I was thinking podcasting, but they needed a legit corporation, so it couldn't just be like a random podcast. It needed to be like credited, or it needed to be legit to be credited, right? So I get my points. So I was like, what can I do? And like I said, I loved hip hop for the longest time. So I went to Power 106, long shot, because they were like the most popular radio station in LA at the time. So
probably still.
Yeah. They probably still are. But because I don't know, because like radio was kind of, at this point, it's a little, it's a little dying. But at that point, pre-COVID, it was still, people were still turning on the radio. Yeah. I feel like it was a different time back then.
Well, yeah, I remember when Big Boy left Power 106, it was like a big deal. I'm like, no, Big Boy's gone.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like everybody was tuned in for those shows. So I was like, okay, I want to do Power 106. I submitted my application, ignored, and I was like, oh, well, how can I do this? I was calling every single day, getting no response. And then I was like, you know what? I really want to do this so bad. So I called and I was like, let me talk to Terry. Shout out Terry. I know she's not there no more, but Terry put me on. I was like, let me talk to Terry. I need this internship, and I know that if I talk to her, like, it could be something. So they put me on the line with Terry, and I was like, Terry, do you mind if I interview you? And she was like, oh, okay. So I went in, I had a list of questions, probably like 30, asking her about her life, asking her how she got to this point. So I learned so much about her. And by the end of the interview, she was like, honestly, she's like, you got it. She's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to put you in the studio and you're going to have a spot here. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe it. But I was consistent, because people were like, how did you get in? Like, who do you know? And I was like, honestly, I wanted it so bad. Like, I was thinking about it every single day, calling every day for at least 2 months, getting no response. Like, I was persistent, and I finally got it. And then I started off at Power 106 doing middays, where they had me just doing like little cuts. So, you know, like the random noises in the back, you'd be like, woo. So I'd be like, woo, or like laughing, exactly like the laugh tracks,
Yeah.
ha, or like just random tidbits. And then I was writing a lot of interview questions because my mentor, she was interviewing like top people. At the time, Tekashi 6ix9ine was like popping. Like she was like, we're going to meet Tekashi 6ix9ine. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, so for him, I wasn't able to meet him, but I met like Ty Dolla $ign, which was crazy. And Wiz Khalifa, I was like, oh my goodness. But then they ended up switching me over to KDAY, which is like the 90s station. And that's where I really that's where I felt like my heart was, because that's where it's always been, with like the authentic, original, like beat bap 90s sound. Yeah. I was like, yes, this is where I need to be.
Yeah, that was the iconic, like Tupac shouted out KDAY in the song, you know what I mean? Like that's the LA staple of hip hop right there. So
yeah.
I mean, I could imagine how great that. Well, not that the other station was bad, but it's just a more in the lane that I guess you were like.
Yeah, where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was able to be on with Romeo in the morning, and at that point he was just a solo act. He didn't have a co-host or an official co-host. So he would put me on like actually on air, like real bits. So he'd be like, all right, Nova. So if your man decides that he wants to cook instead of take you out to eat, how are you handling that? You know, and I would be like, you know what? No, I need to go out. I want to go on a date, you know? So I would just be like controversial, like just funny little topics. So I was able to like build my confidence in speaking. And he was having me out there. He was like, you see that guy over there? Go talk to him. He's going to put you on. Or an artist would come in. He'd be like, you want to go talk to them? Go talk to them, girl. Don't worry about it. Go get your pictures. So that's how I was able to meet Wiz Khalifa. I was like, oh my gosh, like Wiz is in the studio. Like I got to go meet him, you know? So yeah. And then I also did some interning with PJ Butta. He's really funny. He still DJs now, but he has like this comedic timing, and he would put me on the boards. He was like, is there anything that you want to learn? Because I'm willing to teach you. So yeah, KDAY and Power 106 was like just something that I'm very grateful for, but something that I was determined to get. So if anybody listening to this, it takes determination, and you have to put in the work. Nothing is handed to you. Nothing. Because so many people would be like, you're so lucky you're there. Or like, how did you get in there? Like, I can't believe that. Or like, can you put me? And I was just like, you know how many times I had to call? Like, that receptionist probably wanted to block my number. She was probably like, no, this girl, like, again. And it just takes persistence. If you want something, you can have it. Like, you just have to put in the work to get it. And from Power 106 and KDAY, then I did Tastemakers, which was an EDM online radio, which I love hip hop, but I also love EDM. I think anything with high energy, like, is something that I just like. You know, I feel like if I listen to sad music too much, then you just become sad. I never wanted to stay in that ever. I always wanted to like keep like the frequency, I guess, high and be happy. So Tastemakers was through Dash Radio, which I don't think exists anymore. I feel like after the pandemic, everything that was radio just kind of died. So, but we were doing underground. They were getting hits in like Germany. I remember they were like, oh, we have a caller from Berlin. Like, we were doing this show like at 3 a.m. It was crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it was like majority online, but I remember driving to Hollywood like 11 p.m. and like being so tired but excited to be there. I was like waking up like, here we go, like we're going to LA right now, but it's okay, it's gonna be worth it.
You were the main radio host for Hitmakers?
Oh, well, Tastemakers.
Tastemakers. My bad.
No, unfortunately not, but they had me on as like a co-host. So it would be like a table of people, right?
Oh,
so there'd be like 5 hosts or 5 mics, and then we'd have like a guest DJ, like a EDM like on the come up. And we actually got like a couple good artists that had like a genuine following. So it was like pretty fun. And then they would just talk about their music. They would like play a song, and then each of us would have a take on it. And they'd be like, don't be shy. If you don't like it, say you don't like it, you know? And the artist sitting right there, so they'd be like, under pressure. But for the most part, I loved it because EDM, like I said, is always high energy. So how could you not like that? I mean, there's a lot of people that tell me it causes anxiety, but for me personally, I feel like it's great. I love it. I listen to it when I'm getting tired at work. I'm like, all right, put on a little EDM. I'm like, all right, I'm awake again. Yeah. So I feel like for certain things, it's a good. But yeah, so Tastemakers, I was like a co-host of like 5 people. It depended. It was every Monday night, and depending on who showed up would be depending on how like the table went on. But it was fun because we got to like review music. And then I was able to work with this girl, and she had this podcast called The AGB Show, and she was an actress. Her name is Amanda, and she was interviewing she would interview like Michael Jackson's cousin, or like Mandy Moore's like little sister, like those types of people.
Still fire though.
Yeah. So like I was able to meet like, I guess like celebrity siblings that are also pursuing things, but like on the lower level. But that was like fun still, like, cause I was just like, dang, like this person is really related to Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, they probably got stories to tell too. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I was like that. And then Mandy Moore's cousin, she was like writing a show. So it was really cool. Also, like the parent, dang, I forgot his name, but the dad in Twilight, Mr. Colin, the Colin dad, Edward's dad, his daughter was also a producer on the show. So she was there all the time. So I got to meet like people, like maybe not the main person, but like people in the family or in like that are still pursuing like whatever artistic things, creative things. So that was a lot of fun. I'm like, dang, I was a part of like 6 different shows. This was my life for like 3 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's a lot of different things to do in the span of 3 years too.
Yeah, because I was in LA all the time. I was never home. I remember like driving out. Sometimes I'd sleep in my car.
No, those studios are like in fucking Burbank. Like they're like way deep into LA.
Yeah, exactly. West Hollywood even. Yeah. Just I was committed to this. I wanted this more than anything. But unfortunately, the pandemic hit. I tried to do like my own thing with Spotify. They had this app, I forgot what it was called, because now it's called Spotify for Creators, but they took away all like the free stuff that made it the platform. Because you could they had like hundreds of music tracks you could pick that were free that you could use as background noise. Then they had like sponsors you could pick. Once you had a few episodes on, they were like, okay, they would like automatically generate like what sponsorships would work for you. So I actually did get paid. For my own podcast that I ended up creating post-pandemic, I did that for 2 years. I made like $300. It was crazy.
Wow.
I know.
That's pretty impressive.
But now with Spotify, sorry Spotify. I don't know if you post this on Spotify.
Nah.
But yeah, they decided they weren't making enough money, I guess, and they took away all the options and they took away everything. So now you make money for them and you get nothing for your work. So I stopped producing the podcast. It was called Nova Divine's Music Minute because I was reviewing songs.
Oh, okay. Dang. So yeah, you've been you got probably more experience than me talking on the mic and interviewing people. Like I know you for sure do. That's really impressive. And honestly, I didn't know that story of how you got the job at the radio station. And that's like, I love hearing stuff like that because, I mean, and I can imagine like how you were saying, like as a woman in, and especially like a hip hop like driven field, like I can already imagine how people were just shutting the door on you like that. So for you to keep pursuing that and then get it, like that's a major accomplishment, and it's inspiring. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're gonna get told no, but just keep going. Like if you really want it, like you'll find a way to do it. And that I kind of want to ask too, because that it reminded me of how you were saying about how you went through that whole process to publish your book through Amazon. Oh, yeah. And I feel like that's kind of like where did that drive come from? Because you don't just like decide, okay, I'm gonna self-publish it, and then just do it. Like, I already know that was a long process, and you probably had to talk to people, and like that was crazy. So like, where did that kind of drive, like, where does that come from to, like, you know, get stuff done like that?
That's a good question. Well, like I said, I'm a creative by nature. So I just am always thinking of ways to create. Even like I had an era where I thought I was going to be a makeup artist. I was like doing all different kind of crazy looks and different crazy colors. I was like, ooh, this look good. You know, so I just think the desire to create. I don't think anything in my life has fulfilled me as much as being in the creative spaces. And with writing so many poems and so many just like songs, I was like, what can I do with this on my own? Because I didn't have a studio. I didn't have, like, after the pandemic hit, I was also like really sad because after doing all those things like in the like radio and podcast spaces and for the studios to shut down, like I'm telling you, the woman who hired me for Power 106, she's no longer there either. I think she does real estate now because like that space just isn't what it was, you know, in the 90s and the 2000s, even in the 2010s. I feel like once the pandemic hit, that scene kind of just died. Like, sure, the radio station is still there, but it's not what it was. And then Dash also, where I did the Tastemakers and then the AGB show, Dash no longer exists. And I think that's because of the pandemic. Like, we weren't able to be in like the studio anymore. We weren't able to be, you know, in community like we once were. So all those things kind of just faded. So in my time, I had graduated high school. 2019, I graduated college. I graduated from Cal Poly, and I was freshly graduated because the pandemic hit in 2020. And I had been in school since I was a kindergartner. You know, I went to high school, and then straight from high school, I went to college, and then I transferred to the university, and then I graduated in 2019. So in 2020, I was like freshly graduated, everything shut down. I was like, what is going on? Even the relationship that I thought I had, like we broke up, he like moved to another state. So I literally lost my job, no longer had the studios that I once was like so like passionate about going to, didn't care if I didn't sleep, didn't care if I had to drive 2 hours. Like all that felt like it was taken from me. So I was like, how can I keep the rhythm and keep creating? And then that's, like I said, when I started writing, and once I had like so many poems, I was like, I have to be able to do something with this. If it's not going to be music, what can I do with this? And then that's how I was like self-publishing, looking, and even at work, like I'm like, no shade to working, but sometimes when you work in an office, you do have downtime, you know? So in my side downtime, I was like, all right, how can I self-publish? So like looking up, and then that's when I found Skillshare and Canva and all those things. And then that just fueled my fire to like keep on going.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because I feel like that's something that, you know, artists can relate to, just that passion to create. And like you're saying, that feeling of fulfillment when you're able to create, like, there's almost nothing like it.
Especially when it's something you're proud of. Like I typed everything. So everything is typed out by me, everything formatted by me, all of it. So it took, I would say like 10 months to do all of that. And then I had one of my friends just like read it for me. Thank you, girl. You did that. And she like edited like small bits and pieces, but it was all because I really just wanted to get something out there. And then I was able to do my second book now, which is Thoughts of a Post-Pandemic Millennial, which I think is better. So everybody likes the first one because it's based on heartbreak. But to me, when that one is called Time Waits for No One, because I felt like I was 17 one day, and then the next day I woke up 27, and I was like, whoa, like, when did this happen? So, and now I'm 31. Crazy. But at that time I was like, where did the 10 years go? And I feel like the pandemic robbed us of like 3 years. Like I think of 2020, 2021, and some parts of 2022 like feel like one giant year. Like I can't decompartmentalize. I don't know. I can't like distinguish some memories. I'm like, was that 2020 or 2021? But yeah, just having something to be proud of. And I always I always felt like I needed to advocate for myself. So that was me doing what I knew I could do. And that's how that came about.
Okay, I want to jump into a section that we have here. It's called the URG Quickfire Questions. It's just simple questions. You can answer it however you feel.
Okay.
So let's start with simple, basic ones. If you had any superpower, what would it be?
I would have the superpower of teleportation because I like traveling. And
not for bank robbing?
Oh, I guess that too. But like, if I could just be like, and then be in, I don't know, Washington or Japan or anywhere in the world, that would be so sick. Just for anything, you know? Or if I'm running late and I got to get to work and I could just be there, that would be great.
If you could star in any movie, what movie would it be and which character would you play? It could be a TV show if you want. If you're more of a TV show person.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe because, like, yeah, I really just listen to, like, albums and stuff. Maybe I would be Lava Girl and Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Because I remember watching that movie as a kid and being like, oh my God, I love her. I want to be her. Who is she? Like, fifth grade me was like starstruck by that. Like, she was so cool with her hands. And then, like, she lit up this guy with lava. Like, oh my God. So maybe I would be Lava Girl, Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Great answer. Great answer. All right. If you could describe your poems as a type of weather, what type of weather would they be?
Ooh. A storm.
A storm? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, or maybe after the storm, right? Because there's still clouds out, but you get to see a rainbow. There's like the sun is like peeking through the clouds. It's not sunny,
No.
but it's not raining either. But the clouds are still out. You know, there's still something lingering there. So yeah, maybe I would categorize that as after the storm.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, like the floor is still wet. There might be some puddles here and there, but it's not pouring down on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much for coming on this platform and being a part of this podcast. And where can people find your book? Where can people buy that at?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. So my poetry account is the.bend, so it's BEND.ER. So it's the Bender, but it's the .bend.er. So that's on Instagram, and then on TikTok, it's just the Bender with no periods in between. I post
thoughts of a post-pandemic millennial. There we go. Rock and roll.
Yeah, and yeah, this has been awesome. Just getting to sit here with you has been fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we got to, reconnect and talk about those open mic stories, talk about all the new stuff you got going on and, Dude. Where we're at. And it's awesome.
That was 9 years ago.
Don't say that. We're going to edit that out.
I thought about it. It really is.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because it's going to be 2026 next year.
Fuck.
I know.
I don't want to think about that. Well, actually, it's good because I feel like we've both come a long way since then, and it's cool to see where we're at now and the things we're doing now.
Yeah, the progression.
You know what I mean? Because man, we was rocking that. Not anything wrong with the Corona Public Library, but it was just we're doing things that we should be doing. You know what I mean? And it was a great point in our lives, but yeah. I'm grateful.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, if y'all enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe to the video, or like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace!